Now, how important is it for Australian businesses to buy into Good Environmental Choice Australia to make it work?
We are dependent at the moment on business leading the way. We're looking at sustainable development goals. We heard Ban Ki-moon talk about the end of consumption without consciousness. And everywhere, and particularly outside of Australia, I think there's an international pressure rising to do the right thing to commit to that and for business to lead that as well as government. I see in Australia that there's a real opportunity for business to lead that, particularly manufacturers, but also in terms of procurement and business in looking at their own supply chain and also what they're promoting to their consumers. So business has a great opportunity to take the lead. We don't have a political endorsed government sustainable procurement policy at the moment. We'd love one, but at the moment it's business driving it. And where we see built environment, where a lot of our standards sit at the moment, is there's been a lot of leadership in this sector. Green Star, GBCA, and other leaders who are, the multinationals, have actually driven producers to manufacture. And so we actually need that in more sectors than just the built environment.
Are you finding that some companies are changing the way that they make their products, like the production processes, the packaging and the like, in order to get this kind of accreditation?
We are seeing that, and that's been driven by people demanding it. So that's, again, the importance of business actually continuing to ask for it, and also for consumers, us as an individual, us as a professional. How can we affect this change? Because manufacturers do respond to it, but they want to know that there's a market for it. So what that means is, in terms of a Good Environmental Choice Australia standard, it looks from a life cycle thinking. So it starts from extraction, it looks at workplace safety, the production process, the end product, and then also the take back and recycling of that, so including packaging. So really in any step of that process, manufacturers can make step change improvements to reach that bar of best practice.
Now, you mentioned about consumers demanding it. Are consumers trending towards sustainability more? It kind of went off the radar a bit, but it seems with things like Tesla, hundreds of thousands of people putting their money down to buy something they've got very excited about, there seems to be a bit of a change happening. Are you finding that?
Yeah, I agree, and the Low House report, which is out recently, would show that trend is emerging too, that people are concerned. I think in broader issues we've talked about things like climate change, and it's been very much a scientific conversation. Now we're seeing more and more of those impacts. Australia's getting a lot of international pressure. Manufacturers in Australia are getting pressure. So if we don't keep up, we're going to find it harder. And the longer we leave it, the harder it's going to get. So yes, I do think there's a trend coming, and consumers can see it more and more. There's more evidence for it. And I think there's a motivation of, even if that stuff's not real, it is the right thing to do. There is also the WELL standard in the built environment, which has been quite a driver for producers, and looking at the built environment, looking at their whole life cycle thinking, which is not, I guess, a global consideration, but it's kind of like, well, what sort of chair or what sort of paint am I using, and how is that going to impact the people that I love the most, which is my family? And actually looking at health impacts of all of these products has quite a significant impact on consumer choice too.
By 2050, there are going to be 9 billion people on the planet. There'll be even more competition for the resources that are left. A lot of companies, I guess, are going to be fighting for those resources. They need to be doing more with less. How can someone like Good Environmental Choice Australia help them in that pathway and also help them to reach consumers?
You're absolutely right. The production needed in order to sustain that growth of community is huge. And when we look at doing the right thing in limited resources, Good Environmental Choice Australia and the TIP can actually just help businesses and consumers to make those really easy decisions and go, okay, I've done the right thing there. I have considered sustainable consumption and production in this solution. Hi, I'm Kate Harris, and I'm with Good Environmental Choice Australia, and I'm the CEO. I'm speaking at the AWRE seminar series, and I look forward to seeing you there.